You might not know his name, but Steve Udvar-Hazy is one of the most important figures in aviation today. As the founder and former CEO of ILFC and the current executive chairman of Air Lease, he spent decades shaping commercial aviation. I think it's pretty safe to say he knows what he's talking about. So it raised more than a few eyebrows after he made some outlandish comments about the 777X. In a recent interview, he insinuated that the future of the program was at risk. Then he went as far to suggest that in the next couple of years, the program could be outright canceled. Such a move would be truly unprecedented. After all, the 777X is a full 9 years into development and 2 full years into flight testing. So why then does Mr. Hazy think the program could get axed? And is he right? Let me explain. Real quick, folks, I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video, NordVPN. It's not a secret that over the years, flying has become much more safe. But the act of searching for and booking a flight has never been more risky. That's because nearly every website out there tries to track your online behavior for its own gain. You can think of NordVPN as an air marshal for your online activity, keeping you and your personal data safe. Their award-winning platform keeps prying eyes off your browsing history, so your user data remains yours and yours alone. If I'm ever booking a flight on public Wi-Fi, I make sure I'm using NordVPN. That way, snoops can't easily access my passport or credit card information. Nord also masks your IP address, so snoops don't actually know what country you're in. Did you know that here in the US, every flight is subject to a 9/11 security fee? That's not the case in other countries, and by masking your location with Nord, you can avoid these fees and save on flights. Right now, my subscribers can earn some awesome perks when you sign up for a 2-year plan with Nord. By using the link in the description, you'll score 4 bonus months plus a 30-day money-back guarantee. So go check it out so you don't miss this amazing deal. So how exactly did we get here? Why was Mr. Hazy even entertaining the notion of canceling the plane? Well, it all boils down to 2 things: slow sales and flight test woes. Believe it or not, the 777X actually debuted in record-setting fashion. It sold 259 units on launch day, breaking the record for first-day wide-body sales. But here we are 3,200 days later, and Boeing has hardly built upon that blistering start. Its backlog has grown from 258 to 334, an average of just 8 new orders a year. While the program has seen more success in 2022, thanks to the recently launched 777-8 freighter, it's safe to say its backlog has stalled out. But mediocre sales alone isn't enough to justify cutting the program. Plenty of planes go through order lulls, but the case does strengthen when you also consider the jet's flight test issues. In mid-2021, the FAA forced Boeing to slow its flight test campaign, explicitly citing the plane's lack of design maturity, which is frankly a phrase you never want associated with a flying machine. While the regulatory body didn't publicly state why its design is lacking, we do know the plane suffered a major incident just a few months prior. On December 8, 2020, a 777X experienced an uncommanded pitch event, meaning its nose abruptly pitched up or down without the pilot's input. Now, this phenomenon sounds eerily similar to what happened with MCAS and the 737 MAX. But as far as we know, the 777X doesn't use MCAS, meaning Boeing had no immediate culprit to point to. It's unclear what the exact issue is or if it's since been resolved, but I'd imagine that, in the moment, engineers were left scratching their heads. The upshot here is that the 777X now faces mounting delays. To be fair, delays are fairly typical for new aircraft programs. For instance, in the 2010s, the 747-8, 787-8, and the A350-900 all encountered setbacks. But the 777X's delays are unprecedented, and it's now 5 full years behind schedule. Now, it's true that some of those delays can be chalked up to COVID. But setting the pandemic aside, I'm surprised the 777X is delayed at all. Save for new engines and wings, the plane is quite similar to the original 777, a platform that's highly reliable and remarkably safe. And yet, the few changes Boeing did make have caused major headaches, which seems to be a huge red flag. This toxic mixture of anemic sales and troubled testing raises the ultimate question. Is any of this even worth it? After all, Boeing's invested a mere $2 billion into the program, which might sound like a lot, but is just 1/16 of what they spent on the 787. Cutting bait would make all of these headaches go away, and Boeing has more than enough cash to just eat the cost. And there's even a case to be made that cutting the 777X could be a really good thing. Ridding itself of this troubled program could mark a real turning point, shutting the door on an era plagued by engineering shortfalls and putting profit over performance. So maybe Mr. Hazy wasn't just predicting that the program could be canceled. Maybe he was implicitly recommending it. But while all of this sounds very compelling, none of it is actually going to happen. The 777X will live on. Boeing has an obligation to keep it alive, and if they don't, a barrage of lawsuits will follow. Those suits likely start with its suppliers. GE, for instance, has spent 10 years and $2 billion of its own developing the GE9X, the plane's sole power plant. If Boeing unilaterally kills the program, it would wipe billions from GE's books. And the troubles wouldn't stop there. 8 Boeing loyalists have signed up for the jet so far. These airlines have spent close to a decade building their long-term strategies around the plane, and canceling it would be a massive betrayal, leaving these customers high and dry, needing to change strategy at the last minute. This would definitely burn bridges and draw lawsuits of its own. But while these punitive measures are a strong deterrent, it's actually the plane's upside that will keep it alive. Boeing has very good reason to believe the 777X will experience a renaissance, and the reason is simple. Its sales woes are a symptom of weird timing, not of bad product market fit. You see, the aircraft that it's succeeding, the 777-300ER, just isn't ready to be replaced. The very first ER was delivered in 2004, just 18 years ago. Now, most commercial jets fly for 20 to 25 years, so not a single 300ER has reached a typical retirement age. Boeing actually knew that the 777X would hit the market before most airlines needed it, but they moved forward anyway to appease 2 of its most important customers, Qatar and Emirates. Both airlines have made a habit of maintaining a very young fleet, and unlike most, they both are ready to replace their ERs. In total, these airlines operated 221 first-gen 777s, and Boeing realized that these 2 airlines alone could generate enough 777X demand in its early years to bridge the sales gap until other operators were ready to upgrade. So, was Boeing's hypothesis correct? Yeah, so far it's proven to be true. The pair have signed up for 189 777Xs, which by itself could keep the production line chugging until the late 2020s. By that point, the likes of United, Korean, and Turkish Airlines will all be in a better position to modernize their fleet. And with nearly 900 300ERs in service, the 777X backlog has a clear path towards long-term sustained growth. Ultimately, while the plane's technical issues were absolutely not planned for, its order drought kind of was. And COVID might actually prove a blessing in disguise for the program, granting Boeing more time to iron out the kinks. At the end of the day, the 777X does have a pretty bright future, meaning Steve Hazy is wrong. The program is unlikely to be canceled. So, who do you guys think is correct? Me, a YouTuber, or Mr. Hazy, an aviation legend? Let me know down in the comment section below. I am looking forward to debating. Thank you so much to my patrons for helping to make this video possible. If you like what I do and want to help the channel grow, go ahead and check out this link right here. And as always, if you learned something new today, leave a like and subscribe to keep learning. And until I see you again, don't forget to look up.